Hey, what's going on guys? John here, and there has been a lot of talks about the M1X and the M2 chips, which is coming on the new Mac lineups. Now, they're completely unreleased products, so we don't even know for sure if the M1X or the M2 is going to be making it on the Macs, but I think there is a high probability. Now, there are quite a bit of things I want to talk about these chips, so I wrote a whole list of things on my iPhone, and I will be referring to them throughout this entire video. Alright, so why don't I start off by saying how excited I am for a brand new MacBook. I've been holding off this one for the longest time, even though there's been news and touch bars and touch ID. All these fancy things did not matter to me. I really just wanted some kind of revolutionary thing, and that came with the M1. However, it wasn't something that was blowing me away in terms of what the MacBook Air could do versus what the Mac Pro can do. Now, the biggest thing that turned me off with the M1 Max is there is not much of a difference between all the variants of devices. So let's say the iPad and the MacBook Air and the Mac Mini, even the MacBook Pro had the exact same chip. So there's no reason for me to go with the Pro lineup of things. The only reason I would go for a Pro device is if it's a lot faster than the basic version. So anyways, let's talk about the X and the S lineups. Now, you guys are probably wondering, what is X and S? Well, I'm not sure if that's the same thing for now, but the S used to mean speed and the X used to mean a GPU power. Now, I don't see Apple using that regularly on the iPhones anymore. You're not seeing an iPhone 11s, you're not seeing an iPhone 12 Pro S or something like that. And you're not really seeing it used anywhere else. Now, it is different for the X lineup of CPUs. You guys are seeing the A13X on the iPad Pros, and you're seeing maybe the A14X. I'm not sure, that one's coming probably very soon. But here's the kicker, Apple decided to put a desktop CPU inside of the iPad Pro. So now they're going with the M1. Likely that's going to be the M2 coming up next. Alright, so here's the problem I'm really having with the upcoming device being called the M1X or the M2. If it jumps straight to the M2 without the X, which device is going to be having it? Are you going to have the M2 for the basic lineup of devices and then the M2X? Or is Apple going to be calling it the M1X for basic devices like the MacBook Air and the iPad Air and the iPad Pro? But coming back to the problem here, if you do put the M2 into a basic device, you have to have a step up in terms of the Pro lineup devices. So I'm not seeing the step up. There has to be an M2X for the Pro lineups to make them want to buy the Pro devices. The same really goes for the iPhone last year and this year. If you're gonna buy a basic device and have the latest chip inside, there has to be a better chip inside for the Pro devices. That's typically how it is, but I know for iPhones, it's not that important to have a really quick device. Now, speaking about the M2 and M2X, the difference Apple made last year was that the Pros just had a fan inside, and that kept the thermals down. I really hope Apple does not just do that for the M2X and the Pro lineup of devices. I know their iMacs use the M1 where it has a fan inside, same as the MacBook Pros, but when we benchmark both devices together, they pretty much come out with the same outcome. Not much of a difference there in terms of thermals as well. So I really hope that Apple doesn't just put a fan in there and make it a few benchmarks higher than the basic one. Alright, so the final consideration here stopping me from thinking that the M2 is going to be coming out with the new high-end MacBooks is the fact that the iPad Pro now is a Pro device, and that is getting pretty much the top high-end version of every chip. So if Apple's putting the M2 in that, and they're comparing iPad Pro with a desktop GPU, I don't think that that's very good comparing an iPad to a giant desktop. There has to be something different, making it stronger, making it better. Alright, so all in all, if you guys didn't get my rant right there, pretty much I think that it's definitely going to be coming out with an M1X for the basic version of the devices, and then an M2 for the high-end. And if Apple is deciding to jump the X variant, they're probably going to give the M2 to the basic versions of the devices and then come out with an M2X for the high-end version. Now, the final question here is my MacBook Pro that's this thin going to be the same specs, the same speeds, and everything as a gigantic Mac Pro sitting on your desktop? If both of them are going to be handling the M2X chip, which one should you buy? I realistically don't think that the Mac Pro is worth it anymore. So like I said guys, I don't know what Apple's going to be doing this year, but it's going to be really confusing and I'm really excited for it. I'm going to be picking up the MacBook Pro for sure. So if you guys want to check out the video for that, please stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, that bell notification, and you guys will get to check it out with me, the unboxing and everything. Alright, so to wrap up this video here, I found something interesting I want to show you guys. If you jump onto the Twitter page of Apple, this is literally their first ever tweet from their page. But what you want to do is just hit that heart button right at the bottom there, and what Apple does is they retweet you with your name and everything, letting you know and setting a reminder. So on the day before the event arrives, I think Apple is working with Twitter and it's going to notify your device that, hey, you know what, there is a live stream happening right now, so you can jump on there and you guys can check it out. But anyways, my Twitter handle, Apple has retweeted that. If you guys haven't already followed me, it's at HeyJohn, double E at the end, and there you go, you're good to go. We'll set the reminder before the event starts on October the 18th. So there you guys have it. This is pretty much my thoughts of the new chips coming out with the devices. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to answer every single one of them. But anyways guys, this should wrap it up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, this is John. Peace out.